YouTube, what's happening? Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for checking out another video.
Damn it, Tito. Another one?
Right, to kick this haircut off, we're going to come straight in with our detailers and set in that bald guideline. We're going to kind of follow the head shape here and dip it down slightly towards the back. His hair is very thick, so you don't want to keep it too low, otherwise it will look too dark towards the back. We're now following that guideline into the back, and we're still contouring the head shape here, dipping it slightly, making sure that guideline is consistent. We're not turning our clipper upside down, we're going to keep it soft by flicking it up, and we're now coming in on the other side and mirroring that guideline which we've done before. Guys, if you have been enjoying this content I have been posting recently, please make sure to smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, hit the bell notifications to know when the next upload. It really does help keep me motivated and I would really appreciate it. We're now going to come in with the foil shaver, and you can see we're kind of going in circular motions, pressing down on the hair before we go in first. And this allows us to keep it soft and not put in any harsher guidelines. But if you do set in a guideline with this foil shaver, don't be afraid, you can take it right out with your trimmer. We're now going to come in with the lever open on our wool senior, and we're going to set in about a ½ inch guideline, keeping it as consistent as possible. As you can see, I've got a brush in my other hand. I'm going to brush away the excess hair so that I can see my guidelines more clearly. Just due to filming purposes, I have split this section into two, so we're now going to fade the back half of this section, so we're going to descend down by closing the lever ever so slightly as we work our way down. It allows us to keep control of that weight line and not push that zero end guideline any higher than what it needs to be. And if there's still a slight fade line towards the end, just come with your trimmer and just kind of attack that with the corners, and that should take it right out. So I'll jump back in a little bit, and I hope you enjoy. You can see that I move the lever a lot while I get rid of this bottom guideline. This really allows me to kind of keep it consistent and get rid of those dark spots. Don't be afraid to change the lever as you take that bottom line out. Don't just keep it stiff and in one position. It does really help removing that bottom line. When I first started, that bottom line was a killer. So we're now going to come in with the one guard open. As you can see, I'm using quite a vigorous C motion and flicking out just so I get to the top, just under that graduation. But we haven't actually cut the top today, it was just on the side. So we're now going to keep that consistent and keep it about an inch width guideline. And we're going to slightly tilt our clipper towards the hairline so that we keep that a little bit darker. See, we're now coming in and closing that lever and just kind of softening that middle line. The way I like to fade changes with every hair type, because not one technique works with every hair type, because on thicker hair you can kind of do guard skipping more often just because it allows you to kind of push that 1.5 a little bit higher. But if the hair was say to be a little bit finer, you can always use descending. But here I'm kind of mixing the two, so I set in my 0.5 guideline and then set in my 1.5 guideline and then kind of descend the two lines in between and soften them as I go. As I've just spoken over, we've just gone in with the 1.5 guard, just open and close that to soften it at the top, and then we're now going to come in with a slightly bigger one guard. This is the wool premium one guard, and this allows me to kind of join the smaller one guard to the 1.5 guard. A bit confusing, but just watch it and you'll get the hang of it. And this side I found a little bit more tricky to fade than the other side. When you see the other side, I won't speak over, but you can see the fade comes together a lot easier. But it's hard because not every hair type is the same, and growth patterns aren't the same on both sides of the head. So you have to kind of change your technique as you go. So you can't just stay the same for every single person, because not every single person's head and hair texture is the same. Sorry, I was rambling on a little bit there. I'm now coming in and doing a little bit of detail work, so I've just come in with the 0.5 guard just to kind of soften that little line at the bottom, and now coming back in with the one guard. And this isn't the final product, but this does kind of set in that foundation so that you can come back later and detail a little bit more and get that fade looking fire. We're now coming in and doing the shape up, and I'm going to start in at the bottom of the vertical bar. I did actually put a vertical bar in, but my arm got in the way of the camera, so I had to cut that bit out. And we're now going to hook the bottom of it and kind of meet those two lines together, and then kind of come down and hook it down just to kind of
Damn it, Tito. Another one?
Refine. That's the word I'm looking for. We're now coming in on the other side, and I'm going to let you follow along, and I'll join you in a little bit. Guys, summer's around the corner. Comment down below if you're gassed to be able to go out again and start going to festivals. Comment down below where you're thinking of going. I'll be intrigued. Tell you now, I am so excited to be able to go out, see my friends, and to have a good time. Remember to share this video around. When I get to 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to do a big giveaway. So please make sure to share it around and send it to as many people as you can. I would truly appreciate it. Going back to what I said on the side before, this side came together a lot easier than the other side, and that fade is looking blurry. Right, so we're now coming in and doing the shape up. This side you can see me putting the vertical bar, and we're going to come again and put in that first horizontal line at the bottom of the vertical bar, and we're now kind of hook it round. This side I find it a little bit harder to kind of hook it up, so I'll just go down and use the corner of my trimmer blade. Be sure not to press too hard, because if your clippers are closely set, then they will mark and scar the skin. Look at that fade. Right, so now moving on to the back and connecting the two sides. We're going to come straight in with the lever open, and we're going to set in the guideline a little bit thicker through the back. As you know, the hair is thicker at the back, so you do need to take your guidelines a little bit higher. So the reason I do both sides and then the back is because I don't really like going around and setting in my whole 0.5 guideline around the whole head, and then 1.5 and this and that. I'd feel like I get a little bit confused, so breaking it down into 3 panels, it really does help me out. See, I just spoke over there. I did descend down and close my lever as I worked my way down, but there's still a little bit of line at the end, so I came in with my slim line and just kind of flicked that out and removed that nicely. We're now going to come in with the one guard open, again using the C motion, not to set in any harsher guidelines, and going over those two like joining points from both the sides into the back, and make sure that it all fades together nicely. And now we're going to close that lever and soften the middle line. I like to do this a lot on the back because there's nothing worse than having a nice blurry fade on the sides, and then you get to the back and it's just a really dark ridge at the top. Horrendous. So now we're going to come in with the 0.5 guard and kind of soften that line up even more, and just opening and closing that lever and really flicking here, just to kind of, what's the word, again, refine that haircut. And now coming in with the lever open, again, no guard, and just kind of refining that bottom line. We're now going to come in with the 1.5 guard and just connect all those steps together and connect that into the top. And then we're going to follow this up, as you'll see in a minute. We're going to come in, here we are, and use some scissor over comb. Like I said before in previous videos, we're keeping the comb at a 45-degree angle, leaning out towards me, and then we're going to keep that static blade nice and still. A good tip is when you're practicing, put the bottom blade on your finger and then just move your thumb, and then you'll start to learn the movement. It's so important knowing how to do this static blade, because then your scissors will be at maximum kind of potential, and you'll find that your haircuts and your cutting lines will be so much cleaner. Right, we're now coming back in and detailing both sides of the haircut. We're starting on the first side here. I just feel like it could be improved a little bit. We're coming in with the 0.5 guard, and this is what's really important. Doing this will set your haircuts apart from anyone else, and it really makes you show and shine to all your clients, and it's such an important step. So detail, detail, detail. One of the things I love about cutting this client's hair is because his hair is so dark and his skin so light, the contrast you get with that fade is unreal. Right, we're now coming in and a little bit of hair fibres, nothing much, keeping it looking natural. As you've seen before, the haircut was sharp before these enhancements, we're just enhancing the cut. That's a little quote from Chris Bossio, shout out to him. Right, we're now coming in and doing some razor work. We're going to keep the blade at a 45-degree angle and keep the skin taut. Make sure that the skin is nice and taut so you don't have any chance of snagging and cutting the client. We're We're now coming in and taking some horizontal sections and adding some deep point cuts just to add some texture. His hair is so thick and straight on top, you need to do this just to kind of create some movement. And this is really, really important. When doing this, try hold the scissors at 90 degrees to your fingers. It'll stop the chance of you kind of nipping your fingers, but keep practicing, you'll get the hang of it. I remember when I used to do it, I still do it now, I still nip my fingers to the often occasion. When you're adding texture, it's very, very visual. You kind of look at areas that you think need to kind of lose some weight and add a bit of texture. It's all in that barber's eye. It will come with kind of practice, but kind of just work around and you look at the haircut and you'll see where it needs texture. It's where all the hair starts to clump up and it just looks a little bit heavy. We're now coming in and using some dust. The dust I like to use is IQ Clever Dust. It's banging. It smells of watermelon. It's brilliant. And the reason I like to use this on his hair, I would usually put a little bit of matte wax paste in while it's wet, but we didn't wet the top today. And this is good because his hair is so thick, wax could often kind of weigh his hair down and clump it up. This is really, really matte, and it's a great kind of tool to add a lot of texture and volume. I'm just manipulating the hair with my fingers into the desired style. So right now, here's the before. Look at the state of it. We're now going to come in and cheese and bread. Look at that after. Here's a nice little 360 view, and I'll have a little montage of all the after clips for you. If you guys have enjoyed today's video, please make sure to smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, comment down below what you want to see next, and don't forget to hit that bell notification. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.